The first wild encounter that I can really remember was seeing a badger when I was about 6 years old across from my grandparents' house, and I just remember being really fascinated by it and really wanting to sit and watch. And I remember thinking how big it was. I suppose I was quite small at the time. Yeah. My name's Anna. I'm an animal keeper here at the Wild Place project in Bristol. We spend quite a lot of our morning making up all our diets for the animals for the next day. So we prepare food for each kind of different species that we've got individually, and each individual generally has a different diet. And the diets are formulated to be as kind of close to what the animals would eat in the wild as we can possibly get it, and to give them all the nutrients and things that they need to be nice and fit and healthy. Nope. You had loads now. My favourite part of my job is probably just working really closely with the animals. There are certain animals that we do a lot of training with. For example, with our okapi, we do a lot of hoof care work with them so we can lift their feet and things, which means we get a really lovely, close relationship with those animals because they need to be able to trust us and things so that we can do that sort of work with them. But I also really enjoy talking to the public as well, because a lot of people love coming to the zoo but don't necessarily know a lot about the animals that we've got here. So being able to kind of educate someone and tell them something they didn't know the day before is really great.
So they range from little tiny mouse lemurs, which literally are the size of a mouse, up to a species known as the indri. And if you watched Planet Earth 2 on Sunday, they had them on there.
Captive breeding things can be invaluable in some situations, especially with things like the lemurs. They are isolated on Madagascar. That's the only place on the planet these animals are found, and their forests are disappearing at an alarming rate. And some of the populations can be down kind of into the hundreds. So keeping a captive population and a healthy captive population means that if we did need to kind of look to reintroduce animals into the wild in the future, then we've got kind of a pool here that we can use. And the animals that we keep here, we try and keep them as genetically healthy and as kind of physically healthy as possible, so that if they were to be released, or if their offspring were to be released, then they would be as healthy and have as kind of a good a chance of survival in the wild as possible. As keepers, we do work quite hard to kind of understand all their little subtle behaviours to make sure that we can pick up any problems, or if there's anything we can do better for them as kind of quickly as possible. We need to look after our wildlife and our wild spaces. Us humans, yeah, we've done great for ourselves, but we are not very good at thinking about the rest of the species on the planet, and we rely so heavily on them and on the ecosystems that a lot of people kind of take for granted and are put in the back of their minds. And when you think there are so many fascinating species that do different things, live totally different lives to us, but are equally as successful, and think about the future generations of kids. You know, I think I was brought up on David Attenborough documentaries. What if there aren't any new ones made in the future because all those animals are lost? I think it would just be awful. The thing that makes me get up and come here is just the endless variety. No day is the same. Parts of the job are not as glamorous as others. There is a lot of poo involved, which doesn't generally smell great, but after a while you get used to it. It's just part of the job. And generally, yeah, I love being here. Even when it's thrown it down with rain and freezing cold, I still kind of look forward to coming to work. So I can kind of see myself being a keeper for as long as possible, maybe when I'm 60 or something. And animals will always surprise you. There's always something new to learn, there's always something different that will happen, something that surprises you, like coming in and finding a baby okapi born in the stable, you know, things like that. It's just, I just find it, I don't really know how to describe it. It's just a really kind of exciting feeling to know that we are growing and progressing as much as we can. We're trying to kind of build a really kind of conservation-orientated wildlife park, and so hopefully that will help with all the global conservation issues we've got, and that if we can make a little difference to the people of Bristol and the southwest of England, then that could be the tipping point. Someone who comes to Wild Place could be the next kind of, I don't know, the next David Attenborough or something like that, and make a difference to the next generation. So.